Welcome. My name is Mark Gupta with ARC Advisory Group. We're here today with Chet Mroz. He's president of Yokogawa Corporation of America.
Good
Welcome.
afternoon, Mark.
Great. I'm glad you could be here.
Thank you.
So we've had some questions we wanted to ask you. We saw some global improvement in the economy in 2013. Was your company able to leverage that growth? And if so, what were some of the success stories of this year?
Right. Indeed, we have, Mark. We actually focused in our strategic plan for 2013 on 3 target markets. One was the ammonia market, the other one was the ethylene market, and the third one was the LNG market. All of these markets really were beneficiaries of the shale gas, unconventional gas play in the U.S. for plentiful and cheap gas. So in the ammonia sector, we targeted a number of key fertilizer companies, as well as created an alliance with the #1 process licensor of ammonia plants, KBR, and that has yielded a number of projects both in Canada and the USA. On the ethylene side, we targeted about 4 projects that were announced as a result of the cheap shale gas in the U.S., and we were successful in winning the very first grassroots ethylene plant in the United States just towards the end of 2013, and that was with CP Chem in Cedar Bayou, Texas. At the same time, we also focused on process analyzer systems. These are the shelters and houses plus the analyzers for monitoring composition of materials throughout a petrochemical plant. And in that case, we were very successful winning the world's largest project of that kind, which was in Saudi Arabia. It consisted of about 95 shelters, 1,200 analyzers, and a number of other peripheral activities and devices. And finally, in the LNG sector, we were successful because Yokogawa has a very strong position in LNG because of Asia, where it was developed. We had succeeded in winning the first U.S. LNG liquefaction plant to export gas out of the U.S. Towards the end of 2013. So I would say we had a very good 2013, and we're certainly going to carry on with those initiatives into 2014.
Very good, very good. Well, based on the momentum that your company built in 2013, what are some key initiatives that will further improve your value proposition to your customers in 2014?
Well, we're going to move to a different portion of the gas value chain. We're going to go to really the suppliers to the petrochemical industry, and this is the midstream market in the United States, which consists of the gas gathering from the producers of shale gas, the treatment, and the gas processing. And the midstream market is quite unique here in the U.S. because it's usually smaller, different companies that are doing it rather than the majors or the producers. So our automation offering towards that will really address the operations and commercial interactions of running that kind of facility using our portfolio of products from instruments to process analyzers to control systems and a partner's modeling and optimization capabilities. So that's one area. The other area is we're going to go deeper into the petrochemical market. We're targeting processes that require have heavy energy costs as well as feedstock costs. And with cheap gas, these plants are going to actually have a number of projects such as butadiene, propylene, polypropylene, and methanol. So those will be our next targets for industry segments. And finally, one last thing. We've got a new development in the wellhead pad automation using a technology that we've developed and patented for multi-phase metering of the gas and the liquids. And this technology basically has a patent for calculating GVF, and it's for net oil flow and water content of the produced liquids from the wells.
Great.
So,
Very good. So manufacturers and processors are increasingly depending on their automation suppliers to keep their plants running smoothly through enhanced services. How is your company helping its customers with the service offerings?
good. I'd just like to maybe change the word smoothly. It's too general, but let's say increase the safety of the operation, reduce the risk, increase efficiency and yields. So more broadly, actually in this ARC event on Wednesday, we have a session that Yokogawa and its partner Fractionation Research are participating in. It's on minimizing risk through procedural automation. And procedural automation is something that we've been really focusing on for a number of years with the ISA 106 standard. And we've developed a product offering which has a unique software tool in addition to the services around it that actually implement modular procedural automation. And this not only helps the safety of the plant, but certainly helps the operational efficiency and the yields of the plant. So that's a combination, and it's very essential during critical times in a plant operation like shutdown or startup, environmental incidences, and even during an accident to have this automated and in place. So that's one area. The other area is our life cycle effectiveness services, which are really remote services to monitor our DCS systems or our systems and provide diagnostic data, but also to help identify to the user when they need to make improvements, either on the system itself or the applications, such as alarm management or advanced control activity, and so on. So those are two areas we're focused on.
Very good. Very good. Have you seen any shifts in how your customers are paying for their solutions? Shifting from capital expenditure to operational expenditure or performance-based payment, something of that nature?
Right. Well, let me focus on CapEx, capital expenditure, and OpEx, because at this morning's opening session, Andy brought up something that's part of the answer to this question, where he showed that the big oil companies have been struggling with the escalating costs of their capital projects. And this is indeed something we're seeing with many of our customers. In addition to that, right after Andy's presentation, we had Sandy Vassar talk from ExxonMobil about changing the way we should be doing automation projects and abandoning some of the old traditional practices and using newer technology and software to expedite the installation, commissioning, and design and engineering of systems for these projects, such that automation should never be the critical path item in a project. So those two issues were raised today, and we see those as being more and more significant over the next few years. The other thing is what we also have been looking at is a number of studies that have been done in 2013 about the declining productivity in all the countries of the world. And in the mining industry and some refinery activity and other industries, we see customers on the cutting, not the cutting edge, but on that sharp edge of that productivity decrease. So what they are moving towards is less capital investment and new investment in projects and more investment into the existing operations they have and improvements on the operations. So we see a lot of the traditional capital budgets are starting to move in some industries into the operational expense category. So both of those developments are areas that Yokogawa is tracking closely, and we expect to provide some new tools and methodologies in doing these projects over the next few years that satisfy the needs of our users.
Okay, great. As you're forecasting 2014 and beyond, What do you see as some of the biggest global economic tailwinds that your business is going to face going forward? And subsequently, what do you see as headwinds coming up?
Okay. Well, first, the tailwinds. Surely, for North America, the biggest one is, of course, the unconventional and shale gas developments, providing cheap gas, a major clean energy source. And it's going to be going on for a number of years, so it's not a fleeting development. It's going to continue. That, of course, has created the environment of greater capital investment into the petrochemical industry, hence the targets that we have there. And secondly, another activity that's emerging, but yet quite not yet there, is really the use of gas as a major fuel in place of diesel for commercial transportation, as well as getting down to our automobiles. So the need for modular LNG facilities, smaller plants, skid-mounted units around the U.S. and Canada is growing, which provides another tailwind of project activity. Another one is, again, I'll refer to Andy's introductory presentation today, and that's the whole area of IoT, the Internet of Things, and that certainly has the potential, but whether or not it is going to be that significant is really dependent upon the headwinds that I'm worried about, okay? In January, the think tank, the Conference Board, had done a study on global economies. They do this every year. And this is the first time in 10 years that the productivity, the total productivity factor has declined all over the world for all countries. This is quite significant because in 2010, it was like 3.9 for the global economy. In 2013, it's down to 1.7. It was 1.8 in 2012. So there's a very visible productivity decline around the world and how we allocate human resources and capital. So this is a worrisome headwind, in my opinion, unless we can change a number of things. Well, the global productivity, of course, has been declining for all of last year and for the last 2 or 3 years. The U.S., however, has stabilized in their productivity, okay? And yet at the same time, there's a lot of debate about what has really caused this decline in the productivity. Is it just that we don't have a recovery in demand, or is it because our powers of innovating and creating the new ideas to stimulate economy and increase the GDP and so on is possible? So that debate is still raging. So whether this global productivity decline is a permanent thing, and I hope not, because that is the major indicator of rich nations being able to increase the living standard of their populations, and emerging markets to advance in their living standards. So this is a pretty significant issue, I think, to be concerned about. It's also a result of perhaps why we have this continuing low level of employment activity as well. So besides that, if the Internet of Things can make a change in that area and the innovations associated with that create the growth, I think we will have a strong future in automation.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We've been speaking with Chet Mroz, President of Yokogawa Corporation of America.